Namaskar to all. Good morning to our friends in the United States. Good afternoon to all in Europe and Africa. And good evening to everyone in India. Respected Mr. Chandramohan, President, KMB Managing Committee, and the chief guest of today. I'm not sure if Mr. Sondhi has joined, the General Secretary.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, Sir has joined.
We have Dr. Sushma Chawla. I also greet Mr. Dhruv Mittalji, all the august members of the Management Board, members of KMB Governing Council, Academic Council, and Boards of Study. Today, all the members are with us. What a fortunate day. And more so, our guests of honor, the speakers of the conclave, faculty members of institutions across India and abroad, participants, scholars, our industry partners, members of the press, and our dear dynamic students. Welcome to the valedictory event of the 7-day International Conclave on Global Perspectives on Education in COVID-19 Times, Challenges and Opportunities. It has been a most incredible event, made successful by all the erudite speakers from various continents and participants from whom we got an overwhelming response. In this conclave, we had more than 5,000 participants connected with us through different portals. The high relevance of the subject and the erudition of the speakers, scholars, made it a most pronounced success. I am extremely grateful to the resource persons, our guests of honor today, to share their experiences, their scholarship, and most incisive, soulful scholarship with all of us. I call it soulful scholarship because I know, I understand, and I could perceive that you gave your best in this conclave. Thank you so much once again. Each talk was outstandingly phenomenal, dealing with the various aspects of the momentous topic, from the hands-down teaching learning processes of excellence during COVID times to the aspects of well-being of students and teachers. Everything was covered marvelously. Discussions were as engrossing, as informative, and thought-provoking. Today, we look forward to another brilliant talk by Mr. John Battaglino to give a befitting valedictory keynote address. Humanity today is facing the most unprecedented and precarious times of COVID-19. We have no preset models or ways to deal with this situation. Education requires resetting, remodeling, and relearning of teaching learning processes. COVID-19 world has proved more than ever before that we are one global family, faced with similar challenges and uncertainties. Hope lies in communication, in building collective wisdom through shared experiences. That became the motivation for us at KMB and was the concept behind this 7-day dialogue at the international level. Equally motivating was the positive and spontaneous response of all the resource persons. The experiences and scholarship shared on this platform are most valuable and will become a great resource and pool of wisdom for all to draw from and to deal with our challenges with assured strength and hope. Having said that, I am very inspired to compile all these talks into a book so that it becomes a treasure for educators and students alike for all in times to come. So grateful are we to all the resource persons who are not only erudite scholars, but also our friends, that I thought I must share a few memories of your visits to KMB, which were most inspiring from time to time, in conferences and celebrations, in the spirit of building bridges and creating extended families, in a spirit so positive that transcends time and space. So presenting a few pictures of the shared memories.
maybe you're not a guest. Screen sharing has stopped. Suman ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, screen sharing is stopped right now.
Should I do it again?
No, we are back to Principal ma'am now. Ma'am, are you audible to you? Principal ma'am?
Thank you. Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. Yes, please.
Yes.
It is these friendships and empathies that add quality and excellence to the work we do for nurturing communities and creating global citizens of tomorrow. I'm positive that these legacies will continue to build partnerships. They will continue to build our partnerships, enhanced associations, and lasting friendships. I must express my deep gratitude to our president, Mr. Chandra Mohan, for being the chief guest of today's event, Mr. Sondi for being the presiding dignitary, and all the other members to be here with us to encourage and to support us. It is with your support that we have that drive to do our best. Thank you once again. And with welcoming thoughts for all, I now hand you over to Dr. Madhumeet for further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a very warm welcome address and these memories, indeed nostalgic moments. It will be harder to bid adieu now. It is an out and out honor, a privilege, and above all, a pleasure to introduce you all to the rich credentials of today's keynote speaker, Professor John Bettelino, who currently holds the office of Dean of Students and Executive Director of Student Activities at Boston University, USA. The profile he made substantiates how amazing and interesting Dean John is. Reading a line or two from it, I quote, "I am a father, friend, and simple servant to anyone interested in making the world a better place for all. You'll find me with others who see the glass half full, laughing and smiling while tirelessly and humbly working to help others do the same," unquote. These wonderful lines from the wonderful biodata sum up the wonderful personality that Dean John is. With his magnetism, charisma, inspiring words, he indeed spreads happiness and laughter wherever he goes. During all his visits to KMV, the power he swayed over the students was incredible and apparent from his huge fan following. This mage seems to be in possession of a magic wand with which he dispels the worries of all. Along with winning hearts, he has genuinely won many epithets here at KMV, like the Sunshine Man and the Pied Piper, among many others. The Sunshine Man that he is, his words and personality leave lasting imprints on all who have the honor of meeting him. All a Pied Piper of Hamelin, he enthralled and mesmerized and charmed all the students at KMV who are ever looking forward to another visit from him. With pleasure and utmost happiness, I invite an awe-inspiring personality who holds a celebrity status at KMV, the one and only Dean John Bettelino, for his address on the topic, A Meaningful Shared Experience. Over to Dean John.
Ultimate. Too kind. Far too kind. President Mohan, Mr. Sondi, I haven't seen you in so long. It's so good to see you. My dear friend Atma, fellow speakers, guests, and last but certainly not least, to all of my KMB family and friends, thank you so much for having me. I miss being there. Excuse me, even more so after seeing the videos and those pictures. Brings back so many beautiful memories. As we conclude this conclave, I have this incredible honor, but challenge to try to leave you with a few words of wisdom and perhaps some inspiration, some hope. I'll definitely leave you with a challenge. following such accomplished speakers is almost an impossible task. So let me start by tempering your expectations. Please understand that you've heard from scholars, faculty members, people who've earned their distinction of a doctorate by committing to research and discovery, developing extraordinary depth in particular subject matters in a field of study. I genuflect to faculty. Me, I am a simple servant to my students and to the faculty at Boston University. As a Dean of Student Affairs, or as you say in India, student welfare, my role is to try and create and maintain an environment where students can live and learn from the faculty and of course from one another. In a residential college like Boston University and like KMV, you'll find safe and comfortable housing, dining options, study spaces, spaces to exercise, activities, places where people can get together, and so much more. We pour so many resources into trying to create the perfect learning environment. I want you to think about that for a minute. Let that sink in. The perfect learning environment. Just to have the opportunity to study, take time out of our lives, and to be in one of these environments is incredibly rare. Very few people on the planet have the opportunity to do what many of us were able to do. And those who can should be grateful, but there's a tremendous amount of responsibility in each and every one of us. Essentially, my job is to foster community at Boston University. Last night, so I'm preparing my talk and I'm remembering what Eddie was saying, my good friend Eddie Downs, and he said, communication was like a dance. So I'm trying to imagine how I could communicate my work of fostering community through dance. Now, if I had a bigger stage, and you know I would do this, I would try to do some interpretive dance so you would understand and get a sense as what I do and how important it is. But since I don't have a bigger stage, I had to poke around the YouTube. So I found on YouTube this clip. And Dr. Ravi, if you could play that clip for me, I'd certainly appreciate it. I hope Matt Harding doesn't mind me using this clip, because I hope that you also support him because he's an amazing human being. But Dr. Ravi, if you could play that first clip for me, that would be great. This will give everyone a sense as to what I try to do at Boston University.
Just a
Ravi,
minute.
please.
The dance video.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Ravi, I'm starting it.
Yes, yes, yes. Just a minute. I'm doing it.
This is the challenges with technology.
Okay, you start. Fine.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Fall
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. And you can go ahead and clap. And let me tell you something. While
Thank
this
you, sir.
video
Thank
was
you.
playing, I was looking through the screens and I see my good friend, Dr. Poonam, smiling and dancing. I see Dr. Shushma dancing, Manleen Kaur dancing and singing. I'm telling you, this is beautiful. This is what I hope to do in my life. If communication is truly a dance, then what I understood from that video, pure joy. Trip the light. To all the teachers that are on here, you can relate to that moment. Trip the light, that burst of illumination. When you've reached a student and that student grasps subject matter, a dance begins then that can lead to incredible inquiry and discovery. Inquiry and discovery. If you show interest and create a sense of belonging, people will follow you and you can accomplish extraordinary things. And hopefully you have some fun along the way. You know I like to have fun everywhere I go. When I came to KMV, my very first slide of a 198 slide presentation, by the way, Pardeep, you know that's true. You thought I was crazy. I had 198 slides. There were pictures, there was video, there was music. I'm a little guy. It's a big stage. I like a lot of distractions around me. This, in this little space, is hard for me. But I had 198 slides. In the first slide, I had this one quotation because I wanted to tell you, this is what I do for work. And I'm going to drop it right now into the chat box for everybody to read. I read it last night, but I'm putting it, sharing it again. Please take a moment. I want to draw our attention to a couple of things. First of all, sufficient duration of time. And then any barrier of divisiveness that separates one person from another can be undermined and eliminated. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Dr. Howard Thurman was the mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We celebrate him here because he was a dean at Boston University. To think that I have a sliver of a connection with somebody as important as Dr. Howard Thurman in my life is truly humbling. But let's not forget why we're here in this virtual space. We're in the midst of a global pandemic, unprecedented, as we've talked about, certainly times that we've never experienced. In my lifetime, there have been moments, of course, when we've all collectively had to pause for a second. Usually it's around a tragedy. For me, the 9/11 bombing of the World Trade Center in New York City was one of those moments. The devastating earthquake and tsunami of 2004 that took the lives of nearly 250,000 people, many in your home country of India. It's outside of my lifetime, but I can only imagine the collective despair. I hope the collective despair after atomic bombs were dropped on 2 communities in Japan. War is horrible, absolutely horrible, devastating. But there are moments don't always have to be tragic to bring people together. We can celebrate discoveries and achievements, like landing on the moon. I was a little boy when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, and I'll never forget it. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Or when we were all, certainly I was glued to my TV, hoping and praying and ultimately able to celebrate when a soccer team was trapped and then rescued in a cave in Thailand. I think they were called the wild boars. Unfortunately, those moments were just that. They were moments. And for me, the difference between those moments and this pandemic is the sufficient duration of time. Never in my lifetime, and few times in the history of mankind, has anything this dark interrupted the human race for such a long period of time. Maybe we need to stop racing. To date, there have been 21 million cases of COVID-19, over 5 million in my home country, 2.5 million and climbing fast in my second home, India. Over 750,000 people have died. Sadly, many more to come. Most of those deaths occurring in the United States. India, unfortunately, has surpassed the United Kingdom with the fourth largest death toll in this pandemic. I've lost loved ones. I suspect you have too. And for that, I am so, so sorry. But here's the thing about this virus. It has a funny way of saying, if you don't take care of the other, if you don't take care of the other, I'm gonna come back and get you. If you don't take care of the other, your neighbor, your family members, your classmate, the stranger, if you don't take care of the other, I'm gonna come back and get you. And the other isn't someone that looks like you, doesn't have to be, think like you. It's everyone in our society. Of course, like most tragedies, the poorest among us are often the most vulnerable, but nobody is immune to COVID-19. Yes, this is truly our shared experience. Hundreds of millions of people will lose their employment, which in many cases means their health care as well. Millions will lose their homes, adding to the 150 million people who are homeless today, and well over 1 billion people who, determined by the United Nations, have inadequate housing. Adequate defined as clean running water and protection from the elements. Seems like a pretty low bar to get over, but there's over 1 billion people in that circumstance. It will take years, maybe generations, to fully understand the effect of this pandemic on education, global economy, and humanity as a whole. Most relevant to this conclave, of course, is education. In May, UNESCO reported that closing schools so abruptly deprived many from participating for all the reasons that we talked about today. People don't have access in the same way as others. Others suffered learning loss and adolescent development. UNESCO claims that 1.6 billion children, 90% of the world's student population, were negatively affected by the coronavirus. Now we're trying to adapt, and you've heard some tremendous strategies this week, but we are not built for this. This isn't how we're designed. Many have suggested that perhaps technology could save us. I'm going to argue. I disagree. I love to argue. In fact, I think technology may create larger barriers of divisiveness. Perhaps now is the time we need to ponder humanity. Ponder humanity and realize just how powerful we are and how important we are to one another, how much we need one another. My good friend, again, Eddie Downs, the incredibly good-looking professor from Boston University, he said, where does hope come from? It comes from one person sincerely reaching out to another. I'm reaching out to you. And yes, I'm using the tools at my disposal to reach out to you across the globe. And you have the good fortune to access what I'm hearing because you have the resources to do so. So you can hear my thoughts and my humble opinion. Maybe here we can help discover, rediscover, recognize, reimagine what hope actually looks like and what humanity could be in the post-COVID world. Even more, maybe we can share our hopes and dreams with others. Please, don't let technology separate us anymore. Use it if you can, but don't stop there. We have many ways to communicate, and I hope we use them all so we don't miss anyone when we share our hopes and dreams. When you leave this session, this conclave, but before your head hits the pillow tonight, think about all that's been shared this week. Brilliant scholars, rich dialogue, probing questions in the chat box. Take it all in, process everything, try and understand how what you've learned can help you along your way, to help you with your work, your incredible work. Then think about who else might be able to benefit from what you've learned or what you've been able to gather. How will you reach them? That's the ultimate challenge for an educator, our leaders, and I dare say everyone in society. Think about how you will reach the other. If that person doesn't have internet access, call them. If that person doesn't have a phone, visit them. Physically distance, of course. If that person lives far away, write them a letter. Find a way to do what's important to you. Be the change you want to see in the world, often attributed to Gandhi. I love that quotation. People will argue often about human rights, food, clean water, healthcare, clean air, the internet, keep going. And good, we should argue about these things. We should fight for justice. But just remember, arguing is a luxury for those who have time. We can never lose sight of what the work that's on the ground, acknowledging each other's existence and their circumstance, then undermining and eliminating the barriers that separate us. Who gets to decide what is a human right? I thought that was God's work. Human beings are built to adapt to an environment and make the most of it. Isn't that the whole premise behind Darwin's theory of evolution? Necessity is the mother of invention. My brother is deaf. I know sign language. My brother's deaf. A person who can't hear develops a keen sense of sight and vice versa. What is a human right? Is it something that we presume everyone else has and that we need to keep up with others? Maybe. But to what end? If that's the case, I don't think we'll ever get there. It's chasing our tails. Let's say we figure out today how to get everyone access to the internet. If we're just trying to keep up with others, the next great thing, the next need is just on the horizon. The super internet will be discovered and will be made available to just a few. And once again, we will have created a divide that will lead to the most vulnerable people being less informed, less qualified, further widening income inequality and wealth disparity, bigger barriers. I'm sure someone's out there right now trying to figure out what that next great need is, perhaps for all the wrong reasons. Probably so they can become the richest person in the world. And then we put folks like that on a pedestal. I think they're small thinkers, fixated on profits. It's not their fault, and they're not bad human beings. That's exactly what we've asked people to do and what we expect. We admire them for being successful, and we give them power. What's the saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Maybe we could change the game. What if the purpose of being powerful was to better mankind? What if we held ourselves to a higher standard and in turn held those currently in positions of power to those same standards? Some of the wealthiest, most powerful enterprises on the planet are high-tech, online retail, communications, and big pharma. Think about that. High-tech, online retail, communications, big pharma. If their purpose was more about well-being of humanity than merely a profit margin, imagine what they could do with their collective resources, technology, supply chain, inventory management, delivery systems, public access, public reach, medical research, unlimited finances. We could end the pandemic. We can make education, healthcare available to all, truly all. If we value the other, the things, these things, and we're truly accessible and attainable to all, then we can start talking about human rights, because then everyone would have access. If we reimagine humanity, lead with empathy and compassion, practice clemency and forgiveness, let love guide us, care for one another, we could tackle anything. Racism, poverty, xenophobia, sexism, income inequality, violence, mental illness, inadequate housing, anything. We could resolve anything. That's thinking big. That's thinking critically. We need big thinkers. We need to seize this moment, make it more than just a moment, Make it the start of something incredible. Where are our leaders? Who are our leaders? One of the biggest problems is that we often define leadership as something gigantic. It's not. It's not gigantic. Again, I was on the internet last night. Dr. Ravi, if you could cue up that next video.
Yes,
Each
sir.
and every one of you is a leader and more powerful than you'll ever imagine. I think Drew Dudley says it best at this TED Talk in Toronto. Go ahead.
A lollipop moment, a moment where someone said something or did something that you feel fundamentally made your life better. All right. How many of you have told that person they did it? See, why not? We celebrate birthdays where all you have to do is not die for 365 days. And yet we let people who have made our lives better walk around without knowing it. And every single one of you has been the catalyst for a lollipop moment. You have made someone's life better by something that you said or that you did. And if you think you haven't, think about all the hands that didn't go back up when I asked that question. You're just one of the people who hasn't been told. But it is so scary to think of ourselves as that powerful. It can be frightening to think that we can matter that much to other people. Because as long as we make leadership something bigger than us, as long as we keep leadership something beyond us, as long as we make it about changing the world, we give ourselves an excuse not to expect it every day from ourselves and from each other. Marianne Williamson said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us. And my call to action today is that we need to get over that. We need to get over our fear of how extraordinarily powerful we can be in each other's lives. We need to get over it so we can move beyond it. And our little brothers and our little sisters, and one day our kids, or our kids right now, can watch us start to value the impact we can have on each other's lives more than money and power and titles and influence. We need to redefine leadership as being about lollipop moments. How many of them we create, how many of them we acknowledge, how many of them we pay forward, and how many of them we say thank you for. Because we've made leadership about changing the world, and there is no world. There's only 6 billion understandings of it. And if you change one person's understanding of it, one person's understanding of what they're capable of, one person's understanding of how much people care about them, one person's understanding of how powerful an agent for change they can be in this world, you've changed the whole thing. And if we can understand leadership like that, I think if we can redefine leadership like that, I think we can change everything. And it's a simple idea, but I don't think it's a small one. And I want to thank you all so much for letting me share it with you today.
I just love that guy. I'm telling you, I just love that guy. I have been so fortunate. I have had so many lollipop moments in my life. People who have had this profound impact on my life. And I try every day to thank them. I really do. You know, one of the most profound lollipop moments in my life was my second visit to KMV. And I was in an incredibly dark place, personally. I was struggling. I had suffered a few personal losses. I was trying to understand my value in the world, my existence. I was struggling. I can't begin to tell you how difficult the time I was going through. My friend Pardeep noticed, and I'll never forget that, Pardeep. Thank you very much, by the way. He knew I wasn't the same. But anyway, it was my last day, and I ran over to the Gandhian Center like I always do, because I have to go say goodbye to my friends over there, because I think they're just beautiful human beings doing incredible work. So I went over, I said goodbye, and I was running back to the office because I have to get my car to go back over to the airport. And the little young lady that worked in the shop stopped me. She said, sir. And she handed me a little gift. And I got to tell you, at that moment, try to imagine why she would even think to give me a gift. And probably because every time I went to the Gandhian Center, which was often, I would say hi, because that's what I do. I say hi to people. And I must have had that impression on her. And I said, oh my gosh, to this day, that gift sits on my bureau at home, serve as a reminder of my value. She kept me on my path. I was lost. She kept me on my path. My purpose is to try to show others how valuable, how powerful you can be through simple acts of kindness. We don't need technology. We need compassion, empathy, love. That's my opinion. I think it'd be tough to argue. How we share it, How we show it, fine. That's when you can bring in any resource you have, any tool. At that point, bring on the tools, but don't rely on them. Find a purpose, commit to that purpose, make no excuses, no matter how hard things appear. If your purpose is to educate a young person, go do it. No excuses. If that means riding a donkey into a village and writing math formulas in the sand, go do it. Then come home. And if you think the political landscape is a problem, try to influence it. Try to influence politicians. Even better, run for a political office. If you think you can better address access to education through use of technology, go that route. I'm not against technology. In fact, I'm so for it, but use it if you can, but don't use it as an excuse. Find a way to teach everyone. My friend Eddie's partner, Eileen, is true to her values, her purpose. He mentioned the other day, she goes into the streets of Boston every day to care for people with no money, folks with mental illness, drug addiction, some of the most vulnerable people in my city, people who most of society gave up on years ago. She is truly an angel walking among us. She's powerful. Mother Teresa, now Saint Teresa, tended to the poor in the streets of Calcutta. She was powerful. Dr. Atma Sharma, in her work to empower young women at KMV so they can use their voices to be their best selves as change agents in their homes, in their communities, India and beyond. She is powerful. And I'm looking right at you, Atma. Dr. Monica Sharma, for what you do for the young women who rely on the Gandhian Center, and for the women in the Gandhian Center who come there to better themselves. They are powerful. You are powerful. Faculty and staff at KMV. In fact, all educators, your heroes and your superpower is teaching. You are so powerful. Guests, attendees of the conclave, just for being here, you're powerful. KMV students, I don't know you yet, but I know I love you, and I can't wait to see what you'll do to change our world. You are so powerful. That little young lady, who worked in the store at the KMV and asked and thanked me with a simple gift for merely acknowledging her existence. To me, she is so incredibly powerful. She may have saved my life. Powerful. When I return, I will certainly thank her. Despite all the pain and suffering this global pandemic has caused, maybe it has forced us to stop and think about what is really important in life. Let this be our time to reimagine humanity. Let's think big. Let this be, as Thurman said, our collective, meaningful shared experience. Let's break down all the barriers of divisiveness that separate any one person from another so we can truly be one human family. I love you all. Thank you. Stay in the light.
That
Good
was
for the
incredible. That was incredible. Thank you so much, John, for making us think why we live and what we live for. Thank you.
Thank you. You have left us
Part
all
two.
speechless. Yes, a spiritual kind of soul-stirring moment, which you have given along with that lollipop moment, but the soul-stirring one has, is weighing heavier. So yes, we will try to work and tread the path which you are telling. And I was just thinking that how like-minded people come together. It is Professor Tima Sharma when we were starting our foundation program and I was taking up a module. She told me especially to add two things for the students. The foundation program is for the semester 1 students to add compassion and empathy in my module. And I had added songs by Andrew Witt, You Can't Change the World, but you can change the world for one. And I think this empathy and compassion has brought us a long way without our knowing about this. But these things are somewhere resting in us, and it has brought us this way through the COVID-19 period, through the lockdown period. And Dean John, believe it is you have really shaken us all to our core, but it is not so good to see you so like not in your element. So things are yes, shaping up, and everything will be fine with such visits. The collective consciousness being stirred each day through such moments of togetherness. Yes, as you all said, and that man said, we are one big family. We are together there for one another, and we will really work to make this world a better place to live. Thank you so much, John. And now, any questions for Dean John, which I know students are ready with some questions.
Over to Ekta Arora, please.
Good evening to all. My name is Ekta and I am pursuing Bachelor's in Commerce in this prestigious institution, Kanya Mahavidyalaya. I would like to thank all of you for such a fantabulous session. So my question is, so it is not the first time that humanity has faced such defining moments. Pandemics, wars, and famines have always been a part of human history. Can we use this time for self-improvement? Thank you, sir.
Remind me of your name one more time. I'm so sorry.
My name is
Aurora.
Yes, sir.
Aurora, it's so nice and it's a beautiful question. Thank
you, sir.
I don't know. The first time I tried to ride a bike, I fell off the bike. The second time I got a little bit better, but I fell off the bike. Eventually, I figured out how to ride a bike. Never give up. Never give up. There has to be a moment in time when we sit down and say, there is a better way to treat one another. Are we there? I don't know, Aurora. I hope your generation has another path forward. I think my generation did wonderful things, accomplished tremendous goals. But we left a lot on the table for you to continue to work on. So I don't know if this is that time. I certainly agree with you that we have had opportunities in the past and we may perhaps have squandered those opportunities, or perhaps those opportunities got us to where we are today. The best thing we can do is look forward. And it starts with whoever you're with right now. The next person you see, smile, share something. Start there.
So we have a question from Aveline. Over to Aveline, please. Yes, Aveline, please.
Very warm greetings to you, everyone. I'm Avleen Kaur, student of Bachelor of Computer Science and Applications at Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Jalandhar. Thank you very much, sir, for such wonderful demonstration. In regard to this presentation, my question is, as what we have observed during COVID-19 times, the idea of a good life was always the one that included mundane little pleasures. Do you agree that people will continue to appreciate the fact post-pandemic? Thank you.
If you could repeat just the second part of your question, there are certainly some.
Yeah.
Question is, do you agree?
What was
do you agree that the people will continue to appreciate this fact post-pandemic?
Appreciating the mundane things which they had started appreciating during the lockdown, will it stay?
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. I think we all hope that we hold on to the positive things that we've learned and we carry those forward. I hope. You know, people always talk about what that new normal is going to look like. Nothing's normal about this.
Yes.
And I hope that our future
I
isn't.
agree.
I hope we don't go back to anything. I hope we start something anew. And if along that way, we have discovered some things about ourselves. I like to bake. I like to cook. I've really enjoyed my time at home cooking. I hope we discover how important that is to us and not run back and forget about all those things that we've enjoyed. So that's just a hope. I don't know if we will. I'd like to think that I'm going to keep some of the habits that I've picked up over the last 5 months that have really brought me some joy. I hope you do too.
I have a question from Anu. Anu, please. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anu Chopra, and I am pursuing Bachelor's in Journalism and Mass Communication from Kanya Mahavidyalaya. Thank you, sir, for your such a positive session. My question is, since we are in lockdown because of COVID-19, so on the brighter side, most of us are getting to spend more time with our families. But at the same time, there is a generation gap which could be a potential cause of conflict between parents and children. How do you think this situation can be coped up with? Thank you.
I should bring my children in to answer this question. Maybe it's just me. I have been really distracted, and I try to find the positive. I am looking for the glass half full every time. I know that's a beautiful question. It's a beautiful question. I try to find joy in some of the things that used to drive me crazy with my children. I try to be patient. You know, Dr. Sabi yesterday was beautiful. And I thought he was right on when he said, you know, we need to just pause, calm down, and try to find the beauty in what's present in our life. You know, my children and I now, you know, I used to come home from the office late. I used to be busy. I'd get on the phone with people at work. When I got home, I was distracted. Now I'm able to sit down and play a game with my children. I'm like the master of board games, by the way. I'm having fun with my children. We're making dinner together. And so we're trying to find some common ground. And then when we know there's this divide, we got to go to our own corners. got to get away from each other for a few minutes. I go for a walk, or I go meditate somewhere. But I try to find the beauty in that moment with my children. I hope they're doing the same with me. It seems like it's working sometimes. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
We have a question from Shilpa. Shilpa, are you present? Shilpa, yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Good evening to all of you. Myself, Shilpa, pursuing Bachelor of Computer Application from Kanya Mahavidyalaya, the Autonomous and the Heritage Institution. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. My question is, the coronavirus pandemic has shown to people around the world that we are all same but different. So it will remain a shared experience for all who live through it around the world. However, it's still a challenge to stay safe and alive until the vaccine becomes available. How can we manage that since public places have opened and we all are moving to these places?
You know, just before the pandemic started, I was in Rome, and I was there in February, and I'm flying back, and then the real news that the pandemic hit Italy. By the way, thank you very much for your question. I should have started with that. And when I came home, I was devastated because Rome is a beautiful city. My friend Gopi knows only too well. She spent a lot of time in Rome. It's this beautiful community. And what they started to do is they started to sing in their windows. in plazas so people would take time out to sing. I've noticed in Boston, we have done a really good job containing the virus. Everyone wears masks. Everybody stays socially distanced. But we have to find a way to look someone in the eye, to wave, to smile, even if it's behind a mask. You can see a smile in people's eyes, by the way. We have to do this. We have to interact with other human beings. This is what my point is. We thrive on each other, on the other, people we don't even know. So yes, we do need to be safe. We need to be distant, but we need to find ways to come together however we do. I get together with a few of my friends. One of them is Dean Elmore, who is by far and large, he is my hero. He is an incredible personality. I hope one day you get to meet him. He is my inspiration. Dean Elmore and I get together. We go outside. We sit at his house, socially distanced. We bring our own things in. We take our own trash out. But we need that human interaction. So I'm imploring, I'm begging you to find a way to go connect with someone. The difference is maybe we can't be in those big crowds, which I think could be a benefit. Maybe now you need to really pay attention to that person that's closest to you and really confirm that relationship, that intimacy. That intimacy can be any people that really want to get to know one another. I think that is most helpful right now until we can get a vaccine and we get to the next place. But then even after that, back to the other question, let's not forget how important it is to do what we're doing today.
Pradeep, the rest of the questions, I think we can post on the email. And John is a student's person, so he can reply. John, I'm sure that you will connect with the students through your emails and Facebook. So can I invite, actually, we have all the other speakers as well. Yes, so can I invite maybe Eddie Downs to say a few words?
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Ma'am, in the meanwhile, you switch on your camera, please.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. John,
my friend.
Want to be like you. I want to be like you, that's all. You know, the great thing about this is that our time together has ranged from the intellectual to the social to the emotional. And so what we've captured through this conclave, summarized so well with John, is in many ways the whole human person. A person who has a physical sense, a social sense, a moral sense, and an intellectual sense. And I'm reminded that intellectualism isn't always the answer. Intellectualism may pose a question, but isn't always the answer. And as a consequence of that, it's not that we are anti-intellectual, we are intellectual, but we are much more than that. And through John's intellectual presentation, he's reminded me and so many that we are the gift of one another in all these ways, intellectual, physical, emotional, and social. We are collectively one family in one environment through which we can share all of these things. And that's the magic that the president and Dr. Atama, with Gopi's help, have given to so many of us, this gift of the whole person, not intellectualism, who can. So thank you so very much, John.
Annie, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Downs, for your insightful follow-up remarks. Well, can I invite Dr. Maria, please, if she's there?
I'm here.
My colleague.
So,
yeah. Thank you, John, again, for such an inspirational talk. I too would like to be like you. We all want to be like John, really seeing the best of humanity and really bringing up those lollipop moments. And this conference, this conclave, did exactly that. As your quote was beautiful of our Thurman, bringing together and sustaining those meaningful and creative moments. That's what the conclave did for all of us. And it just bridged the distances. It brought us together again. It just highlighted the importance of global family, and KMV is a big part of this global family. So thank you again. It was wonderful. It was scholarly. It was inspirational. It was human. It was everything that bringing people together should be.
Thank you.
Again, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. So I can also see Malavika there smiling with some thoughts.
Yeah. So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Malavika, can you please say something?
Yeah,
about
sure. Thank you, Dean Battaglino. I've never met you in person, which is now making me think I should spend everything, you know, when this virus goes away, hopefully I will one day come by to your office and shake your hand. Thank you so much for that very inspiring talk. And in a way, I think, you know, you kind of put together everyone's thoughts on this last day of the conclave. You made us, you kind of reminded us of the human aspects of being teachers and of our human responsibilities during this virus. You know, the conclave, the conference was all about, you know, the educational, the mental health of our students, but you also reminded us that we're all humans essentially. So thank you very much. Thank you once again to KMV, my KMV family, for inviting me. This was such an amazing experience. Just, you know, just being part of this conclave also reminded me that we're all part of a global team of educators. We're not individual people on individual campuses, and we have all these resources throughout the world that we can all rely on. So I'm looking forward to collaborating, kind of talking to you all about how we can actually go through this moment and actually emerge stronger after all this, and how, you know, in the future we can be better teachers and better human beings. Thank you once again, Dr. Dwivedi and Gopi and everyone else who worked so tirelessly to put this together. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Malavika, for summing it up so beautifully. We have Dr. Naima in front of us on the screen. So just a few words.
Thank you. John, what can I say? That really was from the heart, and that takes courage and presence. Thank you. Exactly, you know, what we need to remember and take away from this conclave in these strange times that we are going through, and the perfect seal for this conference. Thank you. I want to be like you too.
I think we all need to learn from each other and take the best of each other, what, you know, we really imbibe. And so that's wonderful. Well, I think we have Marta with us and Janusz. If you would like to say a few words, Marta, you want to share some thoughts? Is Marta around? Or maybe oh yes, she's there.
Hi, Marta, Janusz, so good to see you both. I was looking at the pictures from the beginning, the pictures, and I remember our time together. It's so good to see you both. I can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Marta, you need to unmute yourself.
Please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So John, it was wonderful to see you. So the joy is shared, I must say. And I really loved that part of your presentation when you spoke about your difficulties in your life and how a small gift brought together to you a kind of meaning, that you are meaningful as a person without any big achievements, without doing anything extraordinary, just who you are, that you greet a person regularly and that person values you. And also it reminded me as a psychologist to the interaction that on one hand, we must try to stay open towards what the world or friends or social connections can give us. So that way, when it comes, we are there to receive it. And your example was a very beautiful example of this, that there was a part of you which was open and seeked for renewal. And then you managed to interpret a very nice small event in your life as something that you can build in and grow yourself from. And so this is a beautiful example because we are in difficult times and we struggle in ourselves, but if we don't let us close and we keep this not giving up spirit, what you also emphasized, then from the outside there can be human stimulus, there can be intellectual stimulus, there can be simple joys of food or sleeping that can give us more strength and help us to carry through, because the most important is to carry through this very difficult period, and I'm sure it will end, but we don't know when. But we have to keep our endurance. And John, your talk was very beautiful. Gave a lot of emotional food for us. Let's put it that way. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to meeting you, John, because our younger son lives in Boston. So when the time comes that we can visit, we will visit you.
Yes, I can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janusz and Marta. Thank you so much. And we have, I could see Dr. Vijay on the screen. I think he wishes to say something.
Nem tudom, mennyit adnak.
Or can we have Dr. Vijay, please?
Yes, please.
Dr. Vijay.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Atma. Yeah, thank you, John. It was a very happy, peaceful talk, I would say. And in your dance video that you showed, participation was almost from the whole world. So you have shown the whole world in your dance video. And on the other hand, you have also showed,
I think the connection is pretty bad there. That's
the world should be like your dance video. And also my takeaway from whole of your talk.
Pradeep, can we take him back again?
Try. In the meanwhile, we have Dr. Siva.
Yes.
I'd like to be on the beach with Dr. Vijay right now.
Absolutely. The background is just so fascinating.
Dr. Siva, good to see you.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, Dr. Atima and the rest of the KMB fraternity. I must, if I saw you in real space, I would have given you a very good hug.
Pradeep, can you switch off the other speaker because it's interrupted? Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Am I audible?
You want me to switch off my mic?
Yes, Dr. Shiva, please go on. Please go on.
So good afternoon, and John, it was such an exhortation. It was actually listening to an evocative lyric, and for me, it was actually something like a raga called community. I mean, I would liken it to a raga called Raga Community, rendered evocatively and inspiringly by John. So hats off to you for the bang-up talk. It will stay in me forever. It touched very many responsive chords in me. And most importantly, it reinforced in me our understanding of community. And what is community? It's actually feeling together, staying together, and faring together. So that's what community is all about. So you did it so well, and you actually reminded all of us that minus our sense of belonging to our community, we are nobody. We become a thing. And therefore, I must thank you wholeheartedly. And please accept my hugs, my virtual hugs, and please accept my my salutations. That was a wonderful, evocative piece, so called Raga Community by John from Boston. Bravo, John. God bless you.
Dr. Siva, from you, that's I'm so thankful. You inspired me yesterday, and I truly appreciate your words. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
John, we have in the later part, I don't know where this will come, but when talking about overflow of the self to the community and to others, we have a small video today that will show how our students did all this. They lived this whole concept that you talked about during the COVID close down time. I won't call it lockdown because it for us, after a month or so, there were relaxations, but what they did during this time of difficulties, we'll show it to you a little later. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Ma'am, many audience in the chat box or the participants, they're asking for John's email ID. So
They
it's
can
up
have
to
that.
John.
So John, just to save time.
I'll put it in the chat box.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you. And the questions from the audience participants, we will post to Dean John, right?
Yes, and he can reply.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank
So
you.
can we proceed, Madhumi?
Yes, yes. After these inputs and an engaging and amazing session, the time is ripe to invite my dear friend, Dr. Gopi Sharma, Dean International Affairs, who has been flawlessly looking into the nitty-gritty of the international conclave over a long time now, to present the report of this fruitful international conclave. Dr. Gopi Sharma.
Namaskar. First of all, I'm very thankful to Almighty God for giving me the opportunity to serve at the seat of women empowerment, none other than Kanya Mahavidyalaya, the heritage and autonomous institution. In this institution, we got the chance to work under the dynamic leadership of our visionary management and pillar of strength and guiding light, our principal ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So it is indeed an honor for me to present before you the report of 7-day International Conclave on Global Perspective on Education in COVID-19 Times, organized from August 10 to 16, 2020. The scholars from USA, UK, Oman, South Africa, Hungary, and various other countries, as well as different states of India, were part of this 7-day conclave. On the first day, Dr. Maria Zalaveta and Dr. Malavika Shetty from Boston University, USA, enlightened us how the different methodologies and use of technology had made possible great engagement in the virtual classes. Dr. Malta Fulop, Dr. Jonas Gori from Itova Lawrence University, Hungary, were the keynote speakers for the second day and discussed about the effects of COVID-19 lockdown on students' mental health. Dr. Jonas Gori, during the session, explained systematic, institutional, and individual responses to the COVID-19 situation in the Hungarian public and higher education. On the third day, Dr. Vijay Singh Thakur, Associate Professor, Dhofar University, Oman, spoke about promoting the English language skills and critical thinking through the creativity of cartoons. Dr. Edward J. Downs, Associate Professor, Boston University, USA, was the keynote speaker for 14th August, that is, fourth day of the conclave. During the talk, Dr. Downs very vividly explained the phenomena of digital divide to all the participants. On the fifth day, we had the privilege of listening Dr. Naima Behan, Senior Lecturer, Leeds, Beckett University, UK, on virtual challenges or opportunities present in a pandemic. Knowledge spreads so fast and time flies during good discussions. So we realized this as we entered the sixth day and become the spellbound listeners to Dr. Shiva Kumar Subramaniam, Professor, University of Western Cape South Africa, on fostering a culture of well-being during COVID-19 pandemic, coming to terms with our voice, agency, and inter-readiness. We have been interacting with John Dean Bettelino since many years, and each time he has new pearls of wisdom to share. Today, we got the honor of getting a slice of his time and his view how meaningful experiences can be drawn from COVID-19 and how we can extend the help. Thank you so much, John. Success of this conclave can be witnessed from the fact and figures as we have received feedbacks on many platforms and question and answers on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. But so far, we have been able to take questions only from the Zoom because There is an overwhelming response. More than 1,000 people have either joined or watched live through Facebook and YouTube. But still, the journey of these 7 days is not over, and it will continue for years and years to come. And all social media platforms and many future generations can dip in this pool of wisdom. As Helen Keller said, knowledge is love and light and vision. May the knowledge we gain through these discussions help us in our lifelong journeys to become more human and insightful, especially during these challenging times. Thank you everyone for sparing your precious time and wholehearted participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Dr. Gopi, for giving a very concise report of the momentous occasion. So thank you once again. Now, it gives me immense honor to invite the chief guest of the valedictory function, Mr. Chandra Mohan, President Arya Shiksha Mandal and KMV Managing Committee, a highly acclaimed and noted personality who is an epitome of wisdom, vision, and erudition. A veteran editor, his thought-provoking views have resulted in tangible and intangible reforms in the society. As President of Arya Shiksha Mandal, a 100-year-old educational society which runs 5 institutions of higher education, Mr. Chandra Mohan's contribution to educational arena is colossal and remarkable. Women education, empowerment and emancipation in Punjab as well as the nation owe a lot to Mr. Chandra Mohan and his revered late father, Shri Virender Ji, erstwhile President, KMV Managing Committee. So, your own president, you motivate us all to excel. Your pearls of wisdom always inspire us and give us much food for thought. So without much ado, I invite Mr. Chandra Mohan, today's chief guest, to say his inspiring address.
Thank you, Madhumi. And first of all, thanks to John for a very emotional talk. I think you made all of us very emotional. And John, I must tell you one thing, that we in KMB have decided to adopt you.
I will gladly join you.
We plan to construct a hut for you in KMB, which is going to be your second home, as you said. So thank you so much, John, and all the participants in this very important seminar that we've had. We are all passing through, as has been said by all participants, through a very challenging time. But it's all the more challenging for India, for which that's what I would like to talk about today. Because of our size, our population, our diversity, our pockets of backwardness, pockets of poverty, pockets of ignorance, we have a huge challenge in India. There are hundreds and thousands of students who have no access to connectivity. There are villages that are not connected or the connectivity is very poor. There are families where there is not a single device, or if there's a device that's being shared by 2 or 3 children. This kind of situation where we are now all trying to impart online education, I'm very worried that we may again divide the society between the haves and the haves not, something which even John hinted. This is a huge challenge that we have to meet in KMV and all other participants from India, that we must reach the last student. Every student has to be touched. Every student has to be brought back into the mainstream of education. We cannot let this situation of haves and have-nots prevail on India. We have suffered so much because of this. It is only now, after so many decades of independence, that we had conquered it. But unfortunately, this is again a huge, huge setback. We also have families where the parents have lost their livelihood. We have families where the businesses have been shut, where the families are not in a position to pay fees of their children. We as educationists, we as servants of the society, we have to be extremely sympathetic to such families. And I would direct at least KMV and Doaba College, the principal, Dr. Diman, is also there, that our institutions must help these students, those students that have been left behind because of lack of connectivity or their lack of financial resources, or those students whose parents cannot pay their fees. We need to help them get into colleges. We must make sure that their education is not disrupted. And through this seminar, I'd also request all those who from other parts of India who are listening in to kindly look into this matter. We cannot let go of a huge number of our students. We just cannot. It is our dharma. It is our duty. It is our responsibility to take the students along. We cannot ignore them. Someday these students will come back to your campus. Some of them will have lost 4 to 6 months of studies. We need to make special arrangements for them. As I said, not a single student needs to be left behind. We must not let this happen to our society again. We've suffered a lot through our history because of this. This pandemic is unusual. It's very hurtful. It is extremely painful. It's extremely challenging. But we in KMV have always accepted such challenges, and I'm sure under the leadership of Dr. Atima Sharma and the faculty we have, we will fulfill our responsibility towards our students. Not one student, I repeat, not one student needs to be left behind. Every student must be brought up, must be helped to stand on her feet. And I'm also very conscious that this online education is no substitute for teaching. As John says, technology has no emotions. In India, we have a long tradition of the Guru. The Guru was not only a teacher, Guru was also a mentor. Guru was also a guide. So we all need to be teacher plus. Technology or a machine, howsoever smart, cannot replace you, cannot replace the physical presence of the teacher. So one day, the students have to come back. We have to make sure that they come back to our campuses, because there is no substitute for a teacher. We have just heard John, no machine can give you a talk like what John has given you today. So it's a huge challenge for all of us, but we have a dharma to fulfill. We have a responsibility to fulfill, and we start with the lowest rung of a society. That rung has to be brought up to the level of others. I know the situation looks very depressing at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm reminded of an old Hindi song, "Wo subah kabhi to aaye." That morning will come someday. With this hope that that morning will come soon. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for this wonderful message. Just assuring you, sir, because your words are always impactful, just assuring you that we are not going to leave a single student behind.
I have full confidence in Atima's leadership.
We will not leave a single student behind, sir. I promise to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Today, every speaker is leaving me speechless. In fact, sir, such emotional and insightful discourse of yours. But as ma'am has said, I am just endorsing her views. We have never left any KMBite behind. Never for paucity of funds. None was left out of the doors of the beautiful institution which such incredible people like you have created. So you as our father figure, we always believe, but fortunate are the students who have taken admission in KMV with your reassuring words. They are all feeling so pepped up to work harder and to at least take resort to whatever technology they can. So thank you, sir, for your each word is always a maxim for us, and really these reassuring words. We are all set to create a beautiful future, I believe, with people at the helm, people like you at the helm, and such tacitly taking stock of the situation. What else we at KMV could demand? And talking about challenges and technology, this session has given us some very wonderful moments. And we must not forget that it is an online session. And so there is hope, silver lining in everything. So
सुबह कभी तो आएगी.
yes, वो
जरूर
सुबह
आएगी.
तो आएगी, and you are really ushering it in that morning, sir. You people like you who have the power and who have the heart can do all that. You have started ushering it. That dawn we are waiting for. Thank you so much, sir. Now, amidst the gracious presence of Mr. Chandramohan, our chief guest for today, and Mr. Alok Sondi, our presiding dignitary, we wish to extend a token of appreciation and gratitude to all the invited speakers through these e-certificates. We miss to extend you the warm welcomes which we could, but this is what we can offer you as of now, and these are full of warmth and thanks. So our first certificate is, we are going by the speakers by each day. So we are starting from the first day speakers. A big thanks to Dr. Maria Zlateva, Director of ESL, Boston University, USA. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Your presentation was insightful, and how humbly and coolly you sat through all the sessions in the early hours of the morning, gave us lessons to learn. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Thank you. Your presence was ennobling.
Maria, you understand that this is just technology, but it comes with a lot of, warm greetings and warm gratitude from across the continents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Now, we have a certificate for Dr. Malvika Shetty, Lecturer, Linguistics and Writing, Boston University, USA. Thank you so much for joining us and giving that wonderful presentation to Cherish. Thank you so much. Then again,
Malavika and Dr. Zlaveta, we are still on to the project that is coming up, and I'm sure that the writing project will continue whichever way. So
Yes.
the students will stand
Thank
to
you.
benefit from that. Thank you so much for your indulgence and all the associations, and that you thought of KMV for this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the
Thank you so
opportunity
much.
to see everyone, even if we are so far away. Thank you.
our pleasure, and thank you so much. Now, a certificate of acknowledgement, appreciation, and thanks for Dr. Marta Fuller, Professor of Social Psychology. It was Lauren University, Hungary. Thank you so much, ma'am. And this is an e-certificate. Thank you so much for the session you gave us. And Dr. Jonas Gyori, Professor of Education and Psychology, Itwa Lauren University, a certificate of thanks and indebtedness for you, sir.
Thank you so much, Marta and Janusz. Janusz, do you want to say something? You missed saying something in the session before.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for this invitation for the whole week. It was a real honor for us, but we, in a sense, we feel ashamed because we were invited to teach you, but we got much more knowledge from you. We were invited to inspire you, but we were much more inspired by you. So thank you for these inspirations, and thank you for the whole week learning. And congratulations for you, KMV staff, the students, and the whole community, the leaders, the board, and also the international colleagues. Thank you for all of you.
Thank you, Janusz. You are always so humble, but we all ended up learning from all of you. You know, that was mutual. Thank you so much. Next, please.
A big gratitude for Dr. Edward J. Downs, Associate Professor, College of Communication, Boston University, our speaker for the 4th day. Sir, the hope will stay with us ever and ever. Thank you so much, sir.
Addie, the hope is in communication that you give to everyone. So thank you so much. And I hope that we continue the association and the friendship. And our thanks to Eileen too for doing so much of so much for so many.
Now, certificate of appreciation for Dr. Naima B. Han from Leeds Beckett University, UK. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for your wonderful presentation and for joining us over the other sessions. Thank you so much.
Naima ji, you shared so many experiences with us, and these are going to stay with us. And I'm sure that this will see the classroom translation of so many things that you led us on to.
Thank you very much. I am honored and delighted to be part of this wonderful conclave. And like others have said, I've actually learned more, far more, and taking away so much with me to think about, but also to act on. Thank you very much. And a huge congratulations for such a successful gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Naima, so much.
Now, we have a certificate of thanks for Dr. Siva Subramaniam, Extraordinary Professor, Faculty of Education, University of Cape Town, South Africa. Thank you, sir, for joining us and for your insightful presentation. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva. Your talk was you took us to another world, and I would try to slide into that as often as I can. Thank you so much for introducing us to that level of consciousness. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rathina. I mean, this conclave is a very powerful reminder to me that by interacting and by preserving and by sustaining a sense of community and a community that cares about shared values and cooperation and collaboration, we teach ourselves what we most need to learn. So we teach best what we most need to learn. And that's what this conclave did, for which I'm ever grateful. And grateful. I think your community, KMV community, deserves all plaudits and kudos. Bravo. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think we have Dr. Vijay Singh now.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Vijay Singh. We have a certificate for Dr. Vijay Singh Thakur, Associate Professor of English Language and Literature, Dhofar University, Oman. Sir,
is Dr. Vijay there?
He, I think, has been disconnected.
Okay.
Net connectivity issue.
His net connectivity was not too good.
Sir is present in Spotlight, but the net is issue. Bandwidth is very low.
Okay, can you spotlight on him, please?
I tried, ma'am, but
okay. So thank you to him, and we will communicate our gratitude once again on maybe on through an email when the connectivity is better. Probably you can get him back. Thank you.
So we have an e-certificate for Dr. John Battellino, Dean Students Affairs, Boston University. Sir, you have made our day today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Well, today's talk, everyone has been a part of, experienced, and we were like, we didn't know, we were spellbound by the time you finished. But I want to say another thing to you, that you've been an inspiration to begin a student welfare program in KMV. In fact, we had it, but your inspiration and your impact and the way you introduced us to the whole student welfare program, this is how we go on and this is how we work now. And you trust me, your indulgence, your interaction with all of us, it has given a lot of quality to the student welfare programs at KMB as well. And so thank you so much. Again, I would say that you do so much for so many and you inspire all of us. Grateful to you, John. Thank you for your friendship and thank you for all the inspiration that you continue to give to us.
I'll join the chorus of my peers in saying thank you to you. You serve as an inspiration to me, my family, and friends in India, particularly at KMV. Just so grateful to have that relationship. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak today.
I can see while I say we are on that whole chorus of being grateful. I think a very hearty grateful thought for Dr. Downs, who's smiling sitting there, for introducing me to you.
That's right.
That was a wonderful moment, Adi. And thank you so much for introducing me to Maria and to John and to so many other kind souls. Thank you. We are very grateful to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, ma'am, for introducing us to such souls. We should thank you for that. And we cannot thank you enough for making us get in touch with such magnets, with such wizards, and such an ennobling experience. In fact, this time it was really great. Thank you. No words to thank you, ma'am, too. And thank you all the invited speakers for making all this possible. Now, before I invite Mr. Alok Sondhi, General Secretary, KMV Managing Committee, today's presiding dignitary, I deem it a privilege to say a word about him. Mr. Alok Sondhi has also taught us lessons in humility, philanthropy, total commitment, and sincerity. A descendant of an illustrious family, he has added name and fame to his ancestors and to the city as well. His noble conduct bears the testimony to the adage, the greater a man, the nobler he is. Without further verbal interference, I invite Mr. Alok Sondhi for his presidential remarks. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible, please?
Yes. You're audible, sir. Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Dr. Madhumari. It's great to be sharing the conclave with such a learned galaxy of scholars. Indeed, I think a friend, John, was the right choice for concluding the 7-day treat we had. John, like the President has already said, you are part of KMB and you do give us a lot of energy, and I think not only that, it's only today that we are talking to each other. I think it's very often, Atima and all of us discuss about you, and thanks for all the inputs we get from you from time to time. It's a wonderful message John has given us. Be compassionate, have empathy, give love, help others, go do it. Never give up and keep smiling. Always be joyful and be patient. John, we are grateful to you for your energy, and it's really infectious. I would like to share one or two things about coronavirus. In Hindi they say, "Zindagi mein ek baat to tay hai ki tay kuch bhi nahi hai." Translating it in English, they say in life, one thing is for sure, that nothing is for sure. So enjoy life, because coronavirus has visited us, and if we look at it negatively, then probably we need to get scared. We need to do blah, blah, a lot of things. But for me, it's a very simple mathematics. One, coronavirus never visits anybody unless you invite it. But in case it comes uninvited, then I know for sure it has to be treated like an uninvited person and thrown out. So first, take a little bit of precautions. Very simple, wear mask, wash your hands, blah, blah. But more important is to look after your health, because I think more or less everybody's going to get coronavirus. So I should, at least I am ready in case it, I'm going to throw it out. So I think one has to be very positive. If we keep on looking at the dark zone of coronavirus, there's nothing, there's no end. But one thing is for sure, that is not going to come, but because I'm not going to invite it. If it comes uninvited, it's going to be thrown out. It's as simple as that. So besides education, I think 7 days we had wonderful sessions on various speakers taking up different sessions. But one thing is for sure, they say that education is when you read the fine print, and experience is what you get when you don't read the fine print. So I don't know what is more important, education or experience. But I feel real education is experience, and real education is what you remember after you left your college or school. So experience, I think virus is teaching us a lot of experience, how to live in these difficult times, how to businesses in shambles, I'm sure not only in India, everywhere. So we are trying to devise ways how to cost. And I was just thinking, I wish we had done these things maybe a year back or 5 years. We probably would have saved a lot of money, but it's never too late. So probably it's time that we are getting educated, we are getting innovating, we are trying to find ways how to go around this pandemic and how to get out of this economic situation we are all in. I will not like to take too much time. I'd like to first, on behalf of Mr. Chandamohan, our president, and my colleagues on the management committee, would like to express our sincerest thanks to the outstanding, knowledgeable scholars who were the keynote speakers for the 7 days. I think I need to express my sincerest gratitude to Boston University from the day 1 to day 7. In the middle also, we had London speakers from Boston University. Thank you for contributing. I would like to compliment our dynamic principal, Dr. Atima Sharma Dwivedi, and her outstanding team. I know in the last 5 months how hard KMB team has been working day and night to be in touch with the students. And it's a testimony that the kind of feelings being expressed by the Society for Kanya Mahavidyalaya for its contribution, not only to the students, but to the society at large, by doing social work, distributing masks, giving charity. It's been outstanding. So compliments once again to Atima and her team. It's been a treat for 7 days for organizing this thing. I think it must have been a very, very tough task, but you've done it with flying colors, and such a big pleasure to see everybody, our friends, Maria and Dr. Balvika and so many other, Dr. Martha and Dr. Janas, besides our dear friend, Edward Dones from Boston University. So thanks once again, John. Good to see you. And all the best. Everybody take care and look after your health. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sondhi, very much.
Thank you, sir, for your incisive and motivating views, and a warm note of thanks to all the eminent dignitaries present today. Now, as ma'am was talking to you all, we present before you a video prepared by KMB during the lockdown period. It will give a glimpse of the many meaningful initiatives, including social, emotional, and spiritual, ones undertaken by this institution non-pareil. Coming in the very stressful times, these seemed as an oasis in the dull, dreary desert sands.
John, we just instantly decided to show this because this is so much in connection, in consonance with what you talked about.
Beautiful.
So here it comes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
अभी समय है थोड़ा संयम करने का, अभी समय है मिलकर यत्न करने का, अपने मन की शक्ति से ही खुद को जीतना है, हमें अपने मन की शक्ति से ही खुद को जीतना है। हम फूल हैं तेरे गुलशन को महकाएंगे, हाँ हाँ हम फिर से लौट आएंगे, हाँ हाँ हम फिर से मुस्कुराएंगे, हाँ हाँ हम फिर से झूमे गाएंगे, हाँ हाँ हम देश को सबल बनाएंगे, हाँ हाँ हम फिर से मुस्कुराएंगे।
Thank you. For our non-Hindi speakers, I would just say that this song was about a hope that there'll be a tomorrow of smiles again. And the students wrote it and they recorded it. And they are the ones who made all these videos. And I must tell you that during the past 4 to 5 months, the kind of creativity that the students have shown, actually, Mr. Chandramohan gave me this whole idea that we must hold an exhibition of these things once the COVID times are over. So these are the strengths that our students have and that we try to explore, and they have been our strength. Thank you so much for watching this.
Thank you so much. And just, though it was not done for the reason, but the students have won acclaim on national platforms from the central ministry as well as the Punjab government. Everywhere their efforts have been acknowledged and they have won awards, acclaim and acknowledgement, and pages have also been dedicated to KMV in the Jal Shakti Ministry's publication, latest.
Well, Madhumit, the more important thing is that we developed a sense of reaching out to the needy. This was the education that went on. That's the whole idea.
Yes, yes.
But, you know, even during these times, the learning must not stop. And I think it's most important learning is education is all about reaching out and making life and society beautiful. And this is what we taught them during this time. In fact, we didn't teach them as much as they learned it themselves because they responded so well. So thank you so much for showing this, Madhumit.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, ma'am, it's time to thank the doyens, the creme de la creme, the savants, the luminaries who are in our midst. Please, ma'am, do the needful.
We also have, I didn't get to see earlier, Dr. Sushma Chopra, who is the General Secretary, who's the Secretary of KMB Managing Committee and our board. And we also have Mrs. Bhagat with us. Can you please remind me if somebody else is there who I could not see earlier? So thank you, all of you, for being with us. You are our strength, you are our inspiration and my drive. So I would like to thank, to begin with, Mr. Chandramohan for being with us today as the chief guest. And then we have Mr. Alok Sondi as the presiding dignitary. Thank you for giving your time and all the connection that you maintain to keep my inspiration comes from you. Thank you so much. Dr. Sushma Chawla is always supporting and she's always encouraging all of us. Dr. Chopra is there, and then Dhruv Mittalji, and I think Mrs. Bhagat is also there online. And I, from everyone's side, from the whole faculty, once again, but not in a small measure, I want to express our gratitude to all our friends overseas who have shared their experiences, who have given us their time to the benefit of the whole community, not only the students and the teachers, but there are people who have joined us from all over India. In fact, I must tell you that there were people from northern states, there were people from eastern states as far as Tripura, there are people from southern states as well as the western states, and of course, not to forget the overseas scholars who joined us. So from everyone's side, I want to say a special word of thank you to all of you, all our friends. I can see all of you sitting here on the screen. I want to also bring forth the role of the team of KMB. Without the organizing committee, nothing could have been achieved. So I begin by saying that the International Affairs Office led by Dr. Gopi Sharma. Amazing work, wonderful coordination. And then we also have the wonderful anchors and the coordinator in the form of Dr. Madhumeet, who is always eloquently handling the things, and the other members who also anchored the programs. And then we have, of course, the ever so important team of technology. Yeah, Mrs. Suman Khurana, Dr. Pradeep, Dr. Ravi Khurana. And then we also have a huge team who were working with them of the department, somebody making, the flyers, somebody making all these presentations. So thank you to everyone for making this a great success. But I also must say thank you to all the participants from all over the globe, I must say, who thought that this was a platform which they must join and encourage us in our endeavors. And of course, to the learning process that we have. And as I said, that I have so much. I had all these notes by my computer, which I have filled. My whole diary is filled with the ideas and all that I have learned. I'm sure everyone else has learned too. And as I said that probably the idea just came to me last evening that why don't we turn it into a book? And so I plan to write the transcripts and send it to the resource persons for their approval or editing or anything you want to do with that. And I hope that in days to come, we have a wonderful treasure of resources for others to see and to learn. So thank you so much once again, all who have supported us, who have made this a success. But more than anything else, I would like to reiterate my deep gratitude to the friends who joined us and who were the resource persons. You made it a success. And I hope that these associations and all this partnership will continue to make it a legacy that will again be an overflow of all of us to the generations that we are nurturing. And I hope God blesses us to continue all these wonderful shared experiences and thoughts and ideas, intellectualism, of course, and as all of us saw today, that emotions, being good human beings, that tops it all. So with these words, once again, thank you all. And I hope now we meet physically in better times, in healthier times, and we overcome these issues with smiling faces and emerge victorious. Thank you very much, one and all.
You can bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.